Hello guys, here is Thiago, and today it's my second video where I speak English. If you watch it, the first one, in fact, if you listen to the first one, that's my introduction where I told you guys I'm using this channel here to post some audios where I speak English, Spanish, and other languages that I'm learning, even though I didn't post anyone, in fact, any video after the first one. But anyway, today is my second one where I'm speak English again, and I'm making this video, in fact, because I'm watching a video here from Maniac. It's a channel, it's a polyglot channel where a guy that speaks many languages is a very known polyglot in the polyglot community. And this time, and in this video, he is interviewing a guy from Brazil. And this guy is descendant from American Confederates that fled from the United States in 1865. So I didn't know about this story, but it's funny because there are still many people here in Brazil. In fact, not many people, but some people here in Brazil, in São Paulo and Paraná states, that they are descendant from American, and they speak English at home. And he's interviewed this guy where they are talking about their culture and how they maintain the language. And he speaks with a very nice accent, a very Southern American accent. That's really interesting. And the interesting part, the funny part, is that I didn't know about this story. I have heard that some Americans came to Brazil some decades ago, but I didn't know that those Americans were Confederates that fled from the United States and settled down here in Brazil. It's very interesting history that I need to read more about that I need to search more about. And that's good because it proves that Brazil is very diverse. I don't know where you are from, but here in Brazil we are very mixed. There are people from all around the world, as many countries here in America, because we know from the story, from the history book, that American continent was one of the last to be colonized, just like Oceania. I don't know if in English we say like that, Oceania. But anyway, there are many people from many places in most of the countries here. So Brazil is not homogeneous, it's a very heterogeneous country, it's a very diverse country. And here you can find people from almost everywhere in the world. And here we have a very large black population, because here we were one of the biggest slavery trade markets. Many people were brought from Africa places, and brought to Brazil, especially from where today is Angola, Mozambique, and Nigeria, parts of Congo, and other parts as well. So here in Brazil we have a large black population outside Africa. And I'm from Bahia. Here in Bahia we have the biggest black population of Brazil. And Salvador is one of the biggest city with, in fact, is the black biggest population outside Africa. Uh, More than 2 million people live there, and most of them are black. Around 80% of the population are black. So if you travel to Brazil, you're going to see a melt pot of culture. Here we have the largest Lebanese community in the world. In fact, here in Brazil, there are more Lebanese people than Lebanon. Okay, here in Brazil, we have more Lebanese people living here than the own country itself. So, because I don't know if you don't know, but those who are born from Lebanese, they are considered Lebanese as well. So here in Brazil, we have many Lebanese people, and we have the biggest community in the world. Even we have president here in Brazil that was son of a Lebanese, Michel Temer, one of the presidents here in Brazil. He's descendant from a Lebanese person, so he's Lebanese as well. Here in Brazil, we have the biggest Japanese community outside Japan. So in São Paulo, you can see many Japanese descendants as well. We have a big community, a huge community in South of Brazil of German, Italian, Polish people as well, Austrian. So here in Brazil, you can find many people from all around the world. That's very diverse. That's why here in Brazil, we don't have, how can I say, a face of Brazilian. You know, you look at a person and you can say, this is Brazilian, this is not Brazilian. Because you find very white people, very black people, very Japanese people, very Arab people. I mean, the characteristics, the feature of the person, you look and say, oh no, this person is not from Brazil. Because usually the most of Brazilians are mixed. So you have that brown skin, brown hair, but you have many kind of faces in Brazil. Anyone can be a Brazilian. If you walk through the streets, you're gonna see many faces, many ways of living. But one thing that's common for everyone here in Brazil is that everybody speaks Portuguese. Everybody. I don't know anyone here in Brazil who couldn't speak the language. That's one of the linking points here in Brazil. And of course, I can't how can I say? I have to mention, of course, the Americans, I think it's like that we say. I don't know. I have to mention the indigenous people from Brazil. When the Portuguese arrived in Brazil, they were here in Brazil, and they had this estimative, I don't know if it is estimative in English, I don't know the name, but they suspected that there were around 5 million people living in Brazil, indigenous people living in Brazil. And today we have around less than 200,000 indigenous people living in Brazil. That's it. I would like just to talk about this video that I found now when I was watching, and I found it very interesting. And I was trying to talk about it here in this audio that I'm gonna post right now. And that's it. One of the funniest thing for me is because I start speaking English, then I'm gonna get, how can I say, I get not lazy, but I get tired. My mind, I think something, but I can express sometimes the thing in English because I'm not used to the language. I'm not used to speak English all the time. I just think in Portuguese. I live in a speaking Portuguese environment, so when I tend to speak in English, I get stuck, I get rust. That's why I'm making those videos, I'm producing those audios in order to get these to get used to speak in English, to think about more complex thing and express myself in this language. And I have to do this in all the languages that I'm learning. Otherwise, I will understand everything, but I will struggle to speak. And that's a very bad sensation because you feel inner in yourself that you are not progressing. So we need to speak. So if you were listening to me, do it the same. Do the same, because if you don't have anyone to talk, you're gonna get rust. You will understand. You read the language and you will understand everything, but when it comes to speak, you're gonna stuck, because speaking is an ability, is a skill that you have to develop, just like the writing, the reading, the listening. And listening and reading is the can I say, it's the easiest part, because we say that this is the passive knowledge. Okay, of course you have an effort to learn the language, but you just need to listen and try to understand. Your mind itself will understand normally the language. It's normal when you expose yourself to the language. But if you don't speak the language, you will not achieve a good fluency. And I hope in some months I can really get fluent in English, because I don't, can I say, I don't consider myself fluent in English because it's stuck too much. Of course, I can have a conversation, I can flow in some way, but I want to get a higher level in English speaking skill. That's it, guys. Thank you so much, and we talk in another video. Bye bye.